The second session of the 2021 Ohio Beef Cattle Management School was hosted via Zoom by the Ohio State University Extension Beef Team on January 25th. During that second session, one focus of the evening was effectively utilizing plastic wrap for fermenting baled forages and making baleage. In the excerpt of that evening's presentation that follows, Jason Hartschuh answers the question, when making baleage, what plastic do I use?
So we're going to make baleage. We need to think about what plastic we want to use. One thing that's really important is to rotate the stock of plastic. If we buy an entire pallet and don't use the whole thing in 1 year, or even if we just bought 2 rolls and we carry one over, we want that to be the first roll we use up the next year. So this plastic doesn't really last forever. It has a tackiness to it. That tackiness is really important for its ability to seal to itself as you put more layers on. Most of the plastic is 1 to 1.5 mils of polyurethane. When it stretches, it'll actually stretch. If it's 1 mil, it may stretch down so that each layer is only about 3/4 of a mil per layer due to stretching. There's 3 common colors. Occasionally you can find it in other colors, but most of the plastic comes in green, black, or white. If you're making wet hay, green and white tend to be the most common colors. White is definitely the most common overall. It reflects sunlight and reduces radial heat better than anything else. Some of the oxygen barrier films tend to be green just to set themselves apart. Oxygen barrier tends to be more expensive per mil, but with the same number of mils as polyurethane, you're going to have lower dry matter loss and also lower mold and spoilage. If you're going to make dry hay, so some guys are making dry hay and wrapping it under 20%. It's not common, but if you're going to do that, you don't want that hay to be below that 20% so it doesn't sweat. Ideally, you'd actually take that hay, set it in a barn for 2 to 4 weeks, and allow it to sweat before wrapping. And you're going to want to use black plastic. So the black absorbs heat and stops surface mold because it gets hot right there along the surface below the plastic, so that bale doesn't sweat out and collect condensation on the outside edge of the bale between the plastic and the bale. It actually helps to drive the moisture in. And you want to cut some slits in the bottom of those bales ideally so that they can breathe a little bit. But you really want to watch for surface mold on these bales. You may have to throw a portion of them away if they go through that sweating process.